You're 14 when you first step onto a wrestling mat. Not as a wrestler, but as a timekeeper for your older brother's tournament. You watch the referee in his striped shirt whistle around his neck, commanding respect from coaches, athletes, and parents. He seems important, in control, untouchable. You think, I want to do that. You have no idea what you're signing up for. The certification process starts innocent enough. Weekend clinics in stuffy gymnasiums learning the basics. Takedowns are worth 2 points. Escapes are 1, near falls depend on time and angle. You memorize hand signals like you're learning sign language. You study the rule book like it's scripture. You practice your whistle cadence in your bedroom mirror, feeling official, feeling ready. The instructor tells you wrestling officiating is about fairness, about giving young athletes the best possible experience. He doesn't mention the death threats. He doesn't mention the parents who'll follow you to your car. He doesn't mention that ULL spend more money on chiropractor visits than you'll ever make calling matches. Your first assignment is a middle school dual meet. $45 for 3 hours of work. You think that's decent money for a teenager. You put on your striped shirt, lace up your wrestling shoes, and walk onto the mat like you own it. The home team coach immediately questions your age. Are you even old enough to be here? The visiting coach wants to know if you've ever wrestled. Neither answer satisfies them. You blow your whistle to start the first match and realize your hands are shaking. The kid shoots a double-leg takedown and you freeze. Is it a takedown or a sprawl? The wrestlers keep going, and you follow them around the mat like a lost dog. The crowd is already getting restless. Someone yells, "Make a call, ref!" You award 2 points for the takedown, and both coaches immediately start arguing. Welcome to officiating. By high school, you've developed thick skin and quick reflexes. You need both. The wrestlers are stronger now, faster, more technical. The coaches are more intense, more vocal, more convinced that every call you make is personal. You learn to position yourself at the perfect angle to see the action without getting trampled. You develop eagle eyes for illegal holds, stalling tactics, and unsportsmanlike conduct. You master the art of the confident call, even when you're not entirely sure what you saw. Fake it till you make it becomes your mantra. You start recognizing the warning signs, the coach who paces the edge of the mat, the parent who moves closer to the action with each questionable call, the wrestler who argues every whistle. You learn to manage them all while keeping your focus on the match. It's like being a traffic cop, therapist, and judge all at once. The money gets better as you move up levels, but so does the pressure. Varsity matches pay $75, but now you're officiating kids with college scholarships on the line. Every call matters. Every point could be the difference between a state championship and going home empty-handed. You're not just managing a wrestling match anymore. You're managing dreams, futures, and family pride. The wrestlers' parents research your past calls. They know your name, your record, your tendencies. They create social media groups dedicated to complaining about your officiating. They record your matches on their phones, not to celebrate their kids' victories, but to document your mistakes. You become public enemy number 1 to whoever loses. Tournament season is when the real fun begins. You're assigned to a 2-day tournament that starts at 8 in the morning and ends at midnight. You'll officiate 30 matches over 2 days, spending most of that time crouched in a wrestling stance. Following the action like a human pretzel, your back starts aching by match 5. Your knees are screaming by match 10. By match 20, you're moving like you're 80 years old. The tournament director keeps the schedule tight, so you get exactly 15 minutes between sessions to eat, use the bathroom, and convince yourself you can survive another round. You survive on energy drinks, ibuprofen, and the faint hope that nobody gets seriously injured on your watch. The worst part isn't the physical toll. It's the isolation. You're the only person in the gym who wants a fair match. Everyone else has a rooting interest. The coaches want calls that favor their wrestlers. The parents want their kids to win. The wrestlers want every close call to go their way. You want to make the right call, but right is subjective when emotions are running high and college scholarships are at stake. You make a tough call against the home team, and suddenly you're the worst referee in the state. You make a tough call for the home team, and you're accused of being biased. There's no winning, only surviving. You start recognizing the types of coaches you'll deal with. There's the screamer who questions every call at maximum volume. There's the leer who cites rule numbers and precedents to argue his case. There's the politician who sweet-talks you before the match and then turns on you the moment a call goes against his wrestler. There's the strategist who deliberately argues calls to get inside your head and influence future decisions. And then there's the intimidator who gets in your face and makes you question whether you're recalling the match fairly or just trying to avoid confrontation. You learn to deal with all of them while maintaining your authority and composure. It's like being a substitute teacher in a classroom full of hyperactive kids, except the kids are coaches and the consequences are real. The parents are somehow worse than the coaches. At least coaches understand the sport. Parents think they understand the sport. They've watched their kid wrestle for 6 years, so they're basically experts. They sit in the stands providing color commentary on every call. That's clearly a takedown. He's stalling. Call the pin. They act like you're deliberately trying to sabotage their child's future. A mother once followed me to the parking lot after her son lost a close match, screaming about how I cost him a college scholarship. The kid was a freshman. He wrestled JV, but in her mind, I was the reason he wouldn't be going to Penn State. You develop coping mechanisms. You learn to tune out the noise, to focus on the action in front of you, to trust your instincts. You practice your positioning so you can see every angle. You work on your fitness because officiating is more physically demanding than people realize. You're constantly moving, constantly adjusting, constantly making split-second decisions while avoiding getting kicked in the face by a wrestler shooting a takedown. You study video of your matches, analyzing your positioning, your calls, your mechanics. You attend clinics and camps to improve your skills. You network with other officials, sharing war stories and survival tips. You develop a thick skin because everyone thinks they can do your job better than you can. The state tournament is the pinnacle of high school wrestling, and if you're good enough, experienced enough, and lucky enough, you might get selected to officiate. It's an honor, they tell you. It's also a nightmare. The pressure is immense. The matches are broadcast live. College coaches are watching. Parents have traveled hundreds of miles to watch their kids compete. The margin for error is zero. You're officiating the best wrestlers in the state, kids who know the rules better than some officials. They're coached by the best coaches in the state, who will exploit any weakness in your officiating. You're under a microscope, and everyone's watching. You make it through the tournament without any major controversies, but the satisfaction is short-lived. The season ends, and you're already thinking about next year. You tell yourself you'll quit, that the stress isn't worth it, that you have better things to do with your weekends. But then August rolls around and you're back in the gym, getting recertified, learning rule changes, preparing for another season of abuse. Because despite everything, you love the sport. You love the competition, the intensity, the moment when everything clicks and you make the perfect call at the perfect time. You love helping young athletes compete at their highest level. You love being part of something bigger than yourself. The club season never ends. While high school wrestlers are taking a break, club wrestlers are just getting started. Different rules, different formats, different headaches. Freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling have their own nuances, their own challenges. The coaches are often former college wrestlers who think they know better than you do. The parents are even more invested because they're paying for coaching, travel, and tournament fees. The pressure is constant. You officiate tournaments every weekend from March through June, traveling to different states, staying in cheap hotels, eating fast food, and dealing with the same problems on a larger scale. You start noticing the physical toll. Your back is permanently sore from crouching in referee position. Your knees ache from all the squatting and pivoting. Your voice is hoarse from blowing the whistle and communicating with wrestlers. You've been accidentally kicked, elbowed, and headbutted more times than you can count. You've torn shoulder muscles diving out of the way of wrestlers, pulled hamstrings trying to keep up with the action, and suffered concussions from stray knees and elbows. The pay barely covers your medical expenses, but you keep coming back. You advance to collegiate officiating, thinking it will be different. It's not. It's the same problems amplified. The wrestlers are bigger, stronger, and more skilled. The coaches are more knowledgeable and more demanding. The fans are more passionate and more vocal. The stakes are higher. You're officiating matches that could determine conference championships, national rankings, and professional opportunities. Every call is scrutinized, analyzed, and debated. You're no longer just a referee. You're a public figure whose decisions affect the careers of young men who dedicated their lives to the sport. The technology makes it worse. Every match is recorded from multiple angles. Your calls are reviewed, dissected, and criticized on social media. Slow-motion replays make every decision look questionable. Fans create highlight reels of your mistakes. You start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you should have made that call, if you were in the right position, if you let the crowd influence your decision. The doubt creeps in, and once it's there, it's hard to shake. You work bowl games, conference tournaments, and eventually, if you're among the best, the NCAA championships. The money is better, but so is the pressure. You're officiating matches on national television with millions of people watching. The wrestlers have been preparing for this their entire lives. The coaches have built their reputations on moments like these. You're the person who could make or break their dreams with a single call. The weight of that responsibility is crushing. The worst part is that nobody remembers the good calls. They only remember the bad ones. You can officiate perfectly for 99% of a match, but if you miss one call, that's what people will talk about. That's what they'll remember. That's what will define you. You become known for your mistakes, not your successes. Your reputation is built on your worst moments, not your best ones. You start training younger officials, passing on your knowledge and experience. You watch their enthusiasm, their confidence, their belief that they can make a difference. You remember being that young, that optimistic, that naive. You want to protect them from what's coming, but you also know they have to learn for themselves. You teach them the technical aspects, the rules, the positioning, but you can't teach them how to handle the pressure, the criticism, the loneliness. That has to be learned through experience. The pandemic hits, and suddenly there's no wrestling, no officiating, no income. You realize how much of your identity was tied to that striped shirt, how much of your life revolved around weekends in gymnasiums. You have time to think, to reflect, to consider whether you want to continue. When wrestling returns, the protocols are different, the atmosphere is different, but the problems are the same. Coaches still argue calls, parents still complain, wrestlers still want every close call to go their way. Nothing has changed except you're older, more tired, and less patient. You attend officiating clinics with officials who've been doing this for decades. They're still passionate, still dedicated, still willing to endure the abuse for the love of the sport. They've officiated thousands of matches, trained hundreds of younger officials, and made countless contributions to wrestling. But they're also broken men, physically and emotionally scarred by years of criticism and controversy. They're your future, and it's not a pretty picture. The season ends, and you're done. Not just for the year, but forever. You hang up your striped shirt, return your whistle, and walk away from the sport that defined you for so long. You tell people you're retiring, that you want to spend more time with family, that you have other interests. The truth is simpler, you're tired. Tired of being the bad guy, tired of being criticized, tired of sacrificing your weekends and your health for people who don't appreciate what you do. You're tired of being the person everyone blames when things go wrong. But 6 months later, you're back. A tournament director calls, desperate for officials. Just one tournament, he says. We really need you. You know you shouldn't, but you agree. You put on the striped shirt one more time, lace up your wrestling shoes, and walk onto the mat. The first match starts, and you remember why you love this. The competition, the intensity, the moment when everything clicks and you make the perfect call. You remember that beneath all the politics and pressure, wrestling is a beautiful sport, and you're helping young athletes compete at their highest level. That's why it sucks to be a wrestling referee. Because despite everything, the abuse, the criticism, the physical toll, the thankless nature of the job, you can't stay away. You love the sport too much to quit, and you hate it too much to be truly happy. You're trapped in a cycle of frustration and passion, drawn to something that gives you purpose but takes everything in return. You're the person everyone needs but nobody wants, the guardian of fairness in an unfair world, the arbiter of dreams in a sport that breaks hearts. And if you had to do it all over again, knowing what you know now, you probably would. Because somebody has to do it, and despite everything, that somebody might as well be you.